Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and we are hopping back into the set 5 breakdown coverage by this time going over all of the new green cards coming out that were just released. So we're going to dive into this, we're going to see if any of these cards help NameKu be the leader that we want him to be coming out of green into this next set. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you like the video so it trends, subscribe if you want to see more Dragon Ball Super Fusion World and soon to come Gundam card game content. And last but not least, my second channel, Universe X, in the description, is on its final leg of getting to 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to be one of the 40 or less to help out with that, that will be much appreciated. Now let's hop in. So, just to go over it again, the leader card, we're looking at his Unawakened side, and he just is, when attacking, draw one, and then he awakens at 3 life. You just draw one card and flip this card over. What that's going to turn him into is the Super Saiyan Goku from the Frieza Goku fight on Namek, where permanent, your turn, this card gets plus 10k power. So, he's always going to be swinging for 30k, and that's cool. And at the end of your turn, you discard one card from your hand. If your life is at a 2 or less and you have 7 or less energy, add the top card of your deck to your life. This is going to pretty much mean that if you want to be able to activate this effect, you're going to want to get down to 2 life, and then you can just discard a card and change it to an extra life. There's a lot of cards in this deck that are going to use that life as a resource, and it's going to allow you to do some pretty cool things. And as long as your opponent isn't hitting you with crit, healing a bunch of times essentially equals more cards in hand. This guy does not attack and get a draw, but you are adding a card to your life and then getting that back, hopefully, on attack. Now, the thing here, though, you do have to be kind of, you have to remind yourself of this. You're not just adding a card from the top of your deck to your life. You do have to discard one card from hand. So, you didn't draw for the turn. You're probably playing a card for the turn, so at minimum, your hand is going to go -1, and then you're going to have to discard a card going -2 to then add a card. And if you don't get crit, you're going to only be down 1 card. So there are some things to kind of note about this. So let's go over the cards that we've had or that we got revealed in this drop and talk about them. The first one I'd like to talk about is this Bulma. It's a 1 cost, 5k power, 5k combo power card. On play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal to 1 card with Planet Namek and special traits, add it to your hand, place the rest at the bottom of your deck in a random order. Because of this deck essentially fully coming out of the box, you have most of your targets being Planet Namek. This searcher is a very good top 3 searcher, and what's more, she is an Earthling and a 1 cost Earthling at that, meaning she can be part of the Hercule package, which is a very huge part of what we're going to be trying to do, depending on just keeping our hands healthy. Hercule, you play it for 1, you get 2 things from the trash. So at the very minimum, or the drop, at the very minimum, Hercule is a +1. And a +1 in a deck like this is very, very important. Now, the next card we have here is Dr. Brief, and I thought it was Dr. Briefs. I guess I'm just messed up, but Dr. Brief, he's just another 1 cost Earthling, which is, once again, something you should pay attention to. And on play, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, revealed to 1 extra with a cost of 2 or less, and add it to your hand, and then I'll place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any random order, and that's just, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You're going to be able to search out a lot of your extra cards, and there are a fair amount you can use in this deck. That being said, there are some really prime time cards that this will pick up from previous sets, such as Gigantic Meteor from the starter deck, such as I believe it's Earth Destroying Blow from set 2, such as Warm Greeting from set 4. There's a lot of cards that Dr. Brief can pick up, so that's actually a pretty cool hit. Next, we have Vegeta, and Vegeta is a 2 cost, 20k power, 5k combo power. On play, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. Then if your life is at 2 or less, draw 1 card. So, this is going to be one of the first cards that we've seen in this video that definitely gets you into a good space for taking your life down by 1. You may wonder, if you're at 3 life, what are you going to do with that? Just not really use your healing effect? But no, think about it this way. You play this body out, you take a life going from 3 to 2, then you draw a card because of this. You have +1 in hand advantage. You've gone down from 3 to 2, and then you've drawn 1 card. So 1 card from life, 1 card from top of your deck, you only played 1 card. And then at the end of the turn, you're going to be able to discard a card and gain a life, essentially breaking you even, but that card economy, once you take that next life, is going to come back to your hand. So this is actually a really, really cool thing you can do here, and it's a Planet Namek card, so it can be picked up off the top of your deck with Bulma. The next card here is Yardratian. Now, I love this face. This is the funniest card. I might just collect these cards. But 2 cost, 15k power, 10k combo power, blocker, and on play, you just add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. It's a 15k, so it's very vulnerable to red. It's a 2 cost, so it's very vulnerable to removal in general, and it doesn't have barriers. So essentially, good luck keeping this card on the board. But as far as 2 cost Self-Awakeners going green, yeah, it's a 10k. It's Self-Awakening, and if your opponent has nothing to get rid of it, it is a blocker. So hey, I'm not mad at it. Now, we've got this Dende card, and this Dende card is a 3 cost, 5k power, 10k combo power, activate main, switch this card in the battle area to rest mode. If your life is at 1, add the top card of your deck to your life. And this is actually really, really cool because I don't necessarily know if this is going to be a popular card or not, but I like the idea of being at 1 life, and instead of having to pay potentially a high price to gain a life, instead of having to play like a heal on for 6, there is a realm where you just play this Dende and you switch this guy to rest mode, you heal a life, and at the end of the turn you go from 2 to 3 with your leader effect. So I think that's actually kind of cool. And then if your opponent has to get rid of it, they have to allot a swing to it. Now it's a 5k, so it won't be hard for them to just send a cantrip at it, but they do have to allot something towards this guy because they can't just let him untap and do the same thing next turn. So I think that's pretty awesome. And now we have this Chaozu. He is now you gotta notice the tags, and now we're just reaching cards that cannot be searched with that Bulma, outside of Dr. Brief. Dr. Brief was not Planetamic, but this guy says Earthling, Another World, King Kai's planet, and he's got, you know, one cost, 5k power, 10k combo power. On play, if your life is at 2 or less, choose up to one of your one battle card with a cost of 5 or less in your opponent's battle area, and it can't attack during the opponent's next turn. For a lot of green decks, this won't really be doing much, but for Goku, this is essentially his Power Brothers, but it can only hit things that are 5 or less, which is kind of rough. It can hit Double Strikers, it can hit Glorios. It's not hitting Bio Broly's. It's not hitting, sorry, it is hitting Bio Broly. It can hit Glorios, Double Strikers, and that, but it's not hitting UI Goku SCR. It's not hitting Vegito 6. It's not hitting Broly 8. It's not hitting a lot of cards that you would rather not turn sideways against you. And so I think that's the main fault of this card. Next, we've got Tien Shinhan. He's got the same exact subtraits, and this guy is a 2 cost, 20k, 5k combo power. On play, place 1 card from your life into its owner's drop. Choose up to 1 battle card at the cost of 2 or less in your opponent's battle area and KO it. Yeah, it's simple. It's gonna keep some heat off your back, but a lot of good 3-drops exist, and there are a lot of good 2-drops. But I just feel like critting a life to destroy a 2-drop is kind of counterproductive. I'm not even going up on hand advantage. I am literally adding a card to the board, taking a life that was going to go to my hand regardless in exchange for getting a 2 cost off the board, and I think that's a little rough. Now we're kind of going to things that are a little shoddy when it comes to what kind of support they're providing, but there are a lot of ways you can probably build this deck coming out of this set, and if you did do a more Namekian based build, this could be something you play. It's a 4 cost Piccolo, 25k power, 10k combo power. On play, place 1 card from your life into its owner's drop. Add up to 1 card with Namekian and its special traits from your drop to your energy. So you're going to sacrifice a life for card into your energy. It's a little bit of a ramp. Playing this can get you up to your top speed faster. And in this deck, since you're not going to need continuous charging, once you reach your 7, you're probably just going to keep it there. So this can get you there a turn early if need be. So I think this is actually pretty cool. Like when you look at the potential plays of being able to do something like turn 3 Nappa to go to 4, and then turn 4 you're charging from 4 to 5, and then you're playing this Piccolo and going from 5 to 6. So now you're essentially going to be able to reach your maximum speed 2 turns early in that case, and then continue just trying to keep everything in your hand, everything that you've been bringing to your hand from Awakening, getting hit in the life, or just drawing and filtering, can now just be used for that gas instead of having to, you know, charge from it out. So I think this is an interesting card, but definitely probably looking better in a Piccolo deck. Next we got Destructiveness, and this is a very interesting card. I don't want to call any card bad before we actually get to touch it. I just think that this is very interesting in the sense that it's a 1 cost that's going to, on your turn, give something plus 20k power, and if your life is at 2 or less, that card gains critical for the battle. Yeah, so this is interesting. I know a lot of people are seeing this, but when you play Goku SCR, who is already double strike and 45k, and you make him 65k double strike critical, Destructo Disc it's looking to be the cheese strat on Goku. Like, this Goku and this guy go together like peanut butter and jelly. You play the Goku, you activate this, you swing. Your opponent needs to have a blocker on board, and you're playing green, so it's not like a blocker is gonna be easy necessarily to keep on board. But yeah, this could very well just lead to your opponent hitting you with a 65k double striker, which may even change the necessity of running defensive cards, running blockers that have substitution effects like Tamagami 3, who I didn't think was going to be that great, but if this became a popular deck, he might have to be a tech, because you know what I'm not trying to do? Take double strike. Double strike crit that starts at 65k. That's just what I'm not trying to do. So this card is very interesting. I think it has some potential. Now, going through the cards that we already have and seeing if they get any better by seeing these current spoilers. We are going to look at those, and we're going to try to time around because, just in case you need a refresher, that is what we have been doing for the past couple of videos. But first, a really quick message from my sponsors. Just trying to put a reminder out there that I still have a working partnership with Mystic TCG as well as Eclipse, and I would implore you to go in the description and use my code words, shop off their online site for the best deals, and also to remind you that Mystic TCG has a ton of OPO 10 that they're still willing to ship out, so use my code to get a percentage off as well as free shipping. Now, back to the content. So with this, we're looking at our next card, which is Murray. Murray is just one cost, 10k combo power, who's just a blocker, but then he adds one card from your life to your hand. Now, a blocker that's going to cost 1 that has 10k is a very interesting stat line. You can't waste that on the responsive turn. There are going to be cards that can get rid of it based on its cost, like Zamasu if people are still running it. But on turn 1, he's actually very much so likely to take a card from your life to your hand and then block. Now, it's kind of funny because if you're a deck that wants to keep their life large, there's not really much of a reason to use this card, but he is a one cost blocker, so it's a very interesting thing. But on top of that, he can normally protect you for some crit that would normally happen. You know, your opponent chart goes to 2, and if they went first and they just play a crit, and you know, you have this blocker there to potentially soak it. So there's a lot of cool things. I think that if you're using like some of the Namekian cards, like that Piccolo we talked about, this has a lot more substance because you can start, you know, looking at your toolbox of Namekians, but it's not necessarily doing a crazy thing in Goku's deck. Now, looking at this Krillin though, on play, you can add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, then when KO'd, add up to 1 card from your hand to your energy and rest mode. I mean, yes, he's a Self-Awakener at the end of the day. Self-Awakener 2 costs with 5k power. I think that speaks for itself. The on KO effect is going to be rough because I think blue and red are going to be very popular at this format, and so good luck getting his on KO all the time. But he is a 2 cost, and he can harass and try to put your opponent in a place where they can be hit with these giant double strike or double strike crits. Now, this is kind of the whole point of a 2-drop 20k though. It's just pressure, it's harassment, it's easy pressure harassment. Next, we've got this Goku, or this Gohan. This Gohan is OD. The more and more I look at him and like kind of like play, I just feel like 3 costs to pop anything once you're at your threshold is insane. Insane. Like, life at 2 or less, choose up to 1 battle card on your opponent's area and KO it. For 3, that's crazy because you still have your other 4 energy left to just go ham on. And I think that this is a very solid card and obviously a 4 in that Goku deck. Now, it's also Planet Namek, so it's searchable with the Bulma. This is just primo, both the Krillin and that one. The other card we're going to be going over is this Son Goku right here. 3 cost, 20k, 10k combo power. Permanent your turn if your life is at 2 or less, this card gains plus 15k power, and then on play add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. This is cool. It's a Self-Awakener, it's a 10k, so it's never dead in hand, and when you're at your threshold to be doing everything you need to do, this guy's going to swing for 35 base. We do that. And there are going to be some times where it's like, if you already have this guy on the field, or, yeah, you already have this guy on the field, it's very easy to do something like have this guy on the field, and that leaves you the ability to play out Destructo Disc on this guy, making him a base, what is it, you're adding 20k to it, I think it's 20k, it's already been a little bit, yeah, 20k, so you'll make him a 45k base with critical, trying to get him down to a point where you can hit your opponent with your double strike SCR. So there's a lot of stuff to work into. Now we've got the promo that we saw before, which is the 3 cost 25k Goku, 5k combo power. He, when attacking once per turn, if your life is at 3 or more, add 1 card from your life to your hand. There's multiple iterations of that. Every turn this guy survives is another turn that he can get you closer to Awakening. And getting closer to Awakening is playing that SCR with reduced costs and the ability to punch hard. So yeah, activate me once per turn. If your leader is Son Goku, switch this card to active mode. Now, this is the crazy part about this. This is like, he's going to be able to put out a fair amount of pressure. 25 isn't the best number, but it's not the worst number. Unfortunately, Destructo Disc does not go for the turn. So you're not going to be able to make him a 45k critical and swing twice. That would be nasty, but you are going to be able to get a fair amount of mileage out of this guy and a lot of pressure, and that's what's up. And then you have this Son Goku Double Striker, which we've been coming back to every other card. This is, yes, this got helped by the new Spoilers Destructo disc. Plus, this is a massive combo, because normally when you double strike somebody and they aren't ready to be double struck, it's bad. Or it can be scary, because you're giving them 2 cards in hand, you have to survive, and then you have to continue with it. Whereas this SCR plus Destructo disc is going to allow you to come in extremely tall, punch a hole in your opponent's life, and not give them any cards. And that's crazy. In the mirror, you're denying people of the cards that they're working so hard to put into their life zone. You're doing a lot. And I do think that this card, it felt simple at first, but it really is going to put this deck on its back. Now, you have this Dr. Brief Spaceship, and Dr. Brief Spaceship is a 1-cost draw 2 if your life is at 2 or less. I personally really never like to discount +1 cards, especially one with such an easy thing. You draw this too early in the game, yes, you can charge it, you can do whatever. But seeing it in the mid to late game, you're going to get this off every single turn. This is a reason to actually try to recycle the extra cards, because you're going to literally be able to get this off every single turn past a certain point of the game. And that's going to keep your hand very, very healthy. With all the Self-Awakeners, it definitely looks like you will be able to build a bigger hand, and I think Dr. Brief Spaceship is a part of that. Full Power just destroys 2 cards. If your life is at 2 or less, destroy 2 cards with a cost 4 or less in your opponent's battle area. This is a good card too. You don't want to have too many extra cards, but at the same time, this is getting sizable pressure off. This is Majin Vegetas if they're being ran. This is Glorios. These are Glorios in black too and red. These are 4-cost Gohans. There's a lot of stuff. This could literally be a 4-cost Vegito if you like that SR. There's a lot of things that this gets off the board and just cleans it up, no questions asked, and I'm okay with that. Now the training at 100 Gs just says activate main, draw 1 card, and from your life to your hand, and then if your life is at 2 or less, play up to 1 Son Goku, the cost of 3 or less from your hand. A lot of times for 3, I'm not really quite sure, because you're adding a card in your deck, and then it draws you a card, and you're playing another card. You could just not have this card in your deck and play the card. In most cases, it will cost 3. Like, it's going to cost 3 or less. So I'm not quite sure about this card. If you're seeing some goo that I'm not seeing, let me know. But I'm not quite sure about this one. And then the last card we have on our list is Unlockability. It's a 5-cost, and that therein is right where I'm already having a problem. 5 costs is fairly hefty. You got to go through a lot of hoops for that one. And we are just not sure if we are ready to dive into a 5-cost. When you're only supposed to charge up to 7 in this deck. That may be a little too much for us, but only time will tell. So realistically, when I'm looking at this deck's place in the meta, I feel like where a lot of people are used to green doing its thing and just kind of like getting to the late game and pushing you out, and then, you know, green Vegeta kind of being the antithesis of that, going a little fast. I do believe that this Goku deck is going to be all about rushing down to that 3 life threshold and then punishing your opponents. Maybe taking a life a turn, sometimes even 2, depending on what your setup is for gaining it back. Going back up to 3 and weathering the storm, knowing that your opponent can only fight these 45k double strikers so many times. Knowing that your opponent is going to crumble under your pressure. However, the things that I think are going to happen with it, I think against blue, you're bringing the damage to blue faster than they can anticipate it. Some of these bodies are attacking for great, huge numbers, and that's going to be rough for blue. For yellow, I think that you're along some of the same path. You can put out some crazy damage, and the crazy thing about this deck is that you can't stall it. No matter what, they will self-awaken, whether that happens in 4 turns, whether it happens in 3 turns. You have to get your Leer swing. They are going to play self-awakeners, and they got a plethora of them. So there's no really keeping this deck off of its like jam. I think that your only real option is to control its board and then try to use your combo power effectively and see who has that longevity. Now the part that does scare me are that decks that are able to go extremely wide seem like they're going to be a problem for this deck. Any 20k spam based yellow deck should be able to hurt this deck pretty bad, in my opinion. I think that Daima Goku may be able to hurt this deck pretty bad, because not only is Daima Goku able to amass a board that can go wide, with green in the mix, you know, your Pansies are getting destroyed, you're drawing 2. Glorio's attack twice and hammer the hand twice from advantage. I do want to see this deck play more, because what this deck looks like it's doing is building up such a crazy opening hand and then hoping you beat your opponent before that hand dwindles down to nothingness while you are literally going neg and card advantage every single turn. And if you cannot get past that bit of issue, I think that's where we sit here and go, crap. which decks have the ability to fight me in this time space, control my board, and put enough pressure on me to lose my hand and then be at the mercy of my top decks. It's going to be a little rough. I think it's going to be a little rough. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you guys feel about this deck. I'm excited to test it. I just think it's going to be a tough little cookie to crack. So with that out of the way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, remember to like and comment. And if you'd like to do me a solid, go be one of the 40 or less people to bring me to 1,000 subscribers on my second channel. It'll be at the end of the video on the, like up next things. It'll be in the description. But yeah, just looking for that extra support. Thank you guys. You're the best.